You can change under the settings, you can change the display. Maybe you're ready to go. You may have to do it.
You said ROU?
Stephanie, you ready? And here comes Amber now. You ready? All right, good evening, folks. This is a public meeting of the Denham Springs City Council held June 10th, 2025, 6 p.m. here in the courtroom of the Municipal Building, 116 North Range Avenue here in Denham Springs. All notices have been posted and the media has been notified as required by law. I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask for Councilman Poole to lead us in the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Thank you, Mayor. It's a privilege to do so. Let's pray. Father, once again, we're humbled to invite you into this chamber as we begin to conduct the business of this great community this evening. Father, it's our most sincere request that we would seek your favor in all that we do, and that the decisions that we make would reflect your presence in our life, your leadership in our community, God, and your continued blessings that you've bestowed upon this great town. So we give you thanks, Father, for this administration, for the employees that make this such a great town that runs so smooth most of the time, and for all of those who have chosen to make it home. Father, we just ask that you would continue to pour out your favor upon our community, that we would seek you in a way that brings honor and glory to you in all that we do. And we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Madam Clerk, let's call the roll, please.
Dugas? Here. Gilbert?
Here.
Dan Williams? Here. Poole?
Here.
Wesley?
Here. Before we get on to the agenda, I would ask Councilman Jeff Wesley to speak a minute about a special event that he was able to attend yesterday.
Thank you, Mayor. Yesterday, I and Chief Walker and Lieutenant Stiegel, as well as the family of Corporal Sean Kelly and also Marshal Shoemate, were invited to the Louisiana House of Representatives for a special resolution honoring Corporal Sean Kelly. Representative Roger Wilder presented the resolution, and he was joined by Representative Kelly Hennessy and Shane Mack in recognizing Corporal Kelly for his life and for his service to the city. It was an outstanding dedication to him and his life, and I don't think that there was a dry eye in the House of Representatives chamber yesterday. So it was a wonderful event, and I want to give some special thanks to Representative Wilder, Hennessy, and Mack for their participation in that event.
And in that event, in the proclamation, it renames Range Avenue as the Sean Kelly Memorial Highway from Florida Boulevard down to Rushing Road. There's about 200 of those, I think, in the state, where we try to honor different people for different reasons. So that's our way of extending the family our well wishes. I did get a phone call today. We're not changing any addresses on Range Avenue. Okay, everybody keeps the same street address, but that stretch is going to be called the Sean Kelly Memorial Highway. So thanks for, you want to read it?
Well, it's quite long, but I will go ahead and read it if everyone's okay with that. The resolution to express the condolences of the House of Representatives upon the untimely death of Corporal Sean Kelly. Whereas it is with immense sadness and profound sorrow that the House of Representatives of the Legislature of Louisiana and the citizens of Louisiana have learned of the death of Corporal Sean Kelly on June 2nd, 2023. And whereas Corporal Sean Kelly was born on December 10th, 1969 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and whereas he graduated from Denham High School in 1989, and whereas he began his career with the Louisiana Department of Public Safety and Corrections in 1994, whereas Corporal Sean Kelly received the Louisiana Peace Officer Standards and Training Council certification from the Louisiana State Police Training Academy in 1997, and whereas he was hired by the city of Denham Springs, Louisiana as a certified peace officer on July 15, 2019, and whereas Corporal Sean Kelly was with the Uniform Patrol Unit, tirelessly working 12 hours a day, rotation day and night, in 28-day shifts, whereas Corporal Sean Kelly obtained a motorcycle police certification, and whereas Corporal Sean Kelly was with the traffic unit, his hard work and dedication was rewarded with the ranks of police corporal and assistant traffic supervisor. And whereas Corporal Sean Kelly's traffic unit duties included investigation, motor vehicle accidents, parking complaints, radar requests, escorts, and special events. And whereas Corporal Sean Kelly was a field training officer and responsible for training new police officers on procedures for conducting traffic stops and motor vehicle accident investigations. And whereas he was a certified taser self-defense instructor, and throughout Corporal Sean Kelly's 29 years of dedication to law enforcement, he received multiple commendations for his generous ways and positive attitude. And whereas on May 11, 2023, while in the course and scope of his employment with the Denham Springs Police Department, Corporal Sean Kelly was working a traffic assignment. And whereas he responded to a disturbance call on South Range Avenue to assist patrol officers already on that call. And whereas upon his arrival, the suspect opened fire, striking Corporal Sean Kelly. 22 days later, on June 2nd, 2023, he succumbed to those wounds. And whereas Corporal Sean Kelly is survived by his wife, Megan, and his 4 children, Elizabeth, grandson Jacob, Destiny, Addison, and Liam, his siblings Shannon Hughes, Mark, husband Brandon Kelly, Ashley, and Nicole Kelly Jordan. Therefore, it be resolved that the House of Representatives of the Legislature of Louisiana does hereby extend sincere and heartfelt condolences to the family and friends of Corporal Sean Kelly on his untimely passing and his extraordinary life, accomplishments, and dedication to the protection and safety of the citizens of Louisiana and beyond. Signed, the Speaker of the House.
Very nice, thank you, Jeff. Thanks for going, and if we may just, let's just bow our heads for a few seconds and just remember the family and send some prayers for him. Okay, thank you very much, I appreciate that. All right, so let's go to item 1. Oh, I'm sorry, item 9, and we have to lift the agenda to, well, I think the best thing is this, when we get to that item, we have to change the VIN number. And I have the correct VIN number here that we can read into the record. And I think you guys have a copy of that VIN number in your paperwork as well. Okay?
Okay.
So we don't need to lift the agenda, do we? We're good.
I think that would be okay.
Motion to lift the agenda and alter item 9 according to the mayor's request.
Okay, motion by Poole. Second by
Gilbert.
Gilbert. Madam Clerk, call for the vote.
Poole,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Lamb Williams, yes, Wesley.
Yes.
All right, so when we get to item 9, we'll introduce and read into the record the correct VIN number. All right? Now we're going to go to item 1, reports. City building official, Rick, are you here for that?
And it should be in the packet.
Okay, all the businesses or whatever, yes, okay. City attorney,
Their report.
engineers, I see Chad is here, we just have one item for you and. That's correct. Okay. City treasurer, of course, we'll have some,
Reports were in your boxes.
okay, then we have the budget to address at the same
Yes,
time. P and Z, is Bill here this evening or anybody?
And if it's not, I can read the
Okay.
minutes, we got the minutes on that.
Good, go
So
ahead.
for the planning commission, there were two items. One was a lot over on Myrtle and Cornet. It was a large lot being consolidated or being subdivided into 3 lots. The plan on that is the applicant would like to turn those into lots large enough for duplexes, 3 duplexes in there. The second was just it was a purchase of 7.5 feet of a neighboring lot. Both of those were approved unanimously. There was a rezone in the zoning commission over on East Street for a laydown yard going from R1 to I1. That was approved unanimously. That will be coming, of course, to city council for a vote, I believe, next meeting.
It'll be
if I'm not
introduced,
mistaken.
it'll be introduced.
Oh, for a public hearing, that's right,
Yes.
okay. And then 2 other, there was a side yard setback variance from 7.5 feet to 5 feet. That was in the Ivies, if I'm not mistaken, that was also approved unanimously.
Yes.
That will be coming
That'll
over.
be coming for, yes.
Very good, and then we have 2 authorizing public hearings. That was it.
Sounds good. Animal report, I know it's in your paperwork from the shelter, and as is the police report. We have Lieutenant Seagal with us this evening covering for Rodney. If you have any questions about the report, I'm sure he has all the answers. And I think you wanted to also speak a little bit about the 4th of July.
4th of July, we will be providing additional coverage, and then helping all additional calls come in, DWIs, firework complaints, et cetera. We'll try to add 3 to 4 guys that night.
Okay.
Should help us all out.
All right, any other questions? Fire, I'll skip fire report, chief is here. Nothing to add, okay, sir. All right, go to item 2. Approve as published in the official journal minutes of the May 26, 2025 city council meeting.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Gilbert, second by Dugas. Madam Clerk?
Dugas. Yes. Gilbert.
Yes.
Lamb Williams. Yes. Poole.
Yes.
Wesley.
Yes.
Item 3, adopt the consent agenda from May 1, 2025 through May 31, 2025.
Motion.
Motion by Wesley,
Second.
second by Gilbert. Madam Clerk, call for the vote.
Dugas. Yes. Gilbert.
Yes.
Lamb Williams. Yes. Poole.
Yes.
Wesley.
Item 4, name the annual records management officer liaison for the city of Denham Springs. That's Ms. Buffy Anderson.
Motion.
Second, withdraw.
Motion by Wesley, second by Dugas. Madam Clerk, call for the vote.
Dugas. Yes. Gilbert.
Yes.
Lamb Williams. Yes. Poole.
Yes.
Item 5, name the annual official journal for the city of Denham Springs, which is the Livingston Parish News.
Motion approved.
Motion by Gilbert,
Second.
second by Dugas. Madam Clerk, call for the vote.
Dugas. Yes. Gilbert.
Yes.
Lamb Williams. Yes. Poole.
Yes.
Wesley.
And let's see, we're gonna interject here something. So when we get to items 18 and 19, those involve an ordinance to ban the sale of kratom. After this ordinance was introduced, the state passed a law to ban the sale and possession of kratom, which we have now been told was signed by the Governor Landry yesterday. So we'd like to replace our ordinance with one that mirrors the new state law. When we get to this item, we'll hold a public hearing and ask for a motion to deny the ordinance so that it can be rewritten. So let's go ahead and do that now so that anyone who is here for the item can be dismissed since the agenda is long tonight. So we can go ahead and make a motion to
We'll just skip to number 18 and.
we can go straight to 18, okay?
You want a denial or no action?
Need to have the public hearing.
I would say hold the public hearing and then make a motion however y'all see fit, but my suggestion would be to deny it so that we can bring back a separate ordinance that mirrors the state law.
And not tonight, this will be at a future date.
Correct.
But we do want to see, is there anybody here this evening that wants to speak for or against the kratom item on the agenda? Okay, none here.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close by
Second.
Williams, second by Gilbert. Madam Clerk?
Dugas. Yes. Gilbert.
Yes.
Lamb Williams. Yes. Poole.
Yes.
Wesley.
Yes.
So there's nobody here for it. And on the item 19, it's adopted ordinance to ban the sale of kratom. So, we need a motion to deny this ordinance so that a new one can be drafted to match the new state.
Second.
A motion by Gilbert, second by Dugas. Madam Clerk, call for the vote.
Dugas,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Lamb Williams, yes. Wesley, Poole,
Yes.
Okay, so if there is anybody here, which nobody raised their hands, then you're free to leave. Okay. All right, now we're gonna go back to item 6. Approve insurance proposal offered by Bloomberg and Associates for the fire department only, property, equipment, and auto in the amount of $50,627.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Gilbert,
Second.
second by Dugas. Madam Clerk, call for the vote.
Dugas,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Lamb Williams, yes. Poole,
Yes.
Wesley.
Yes.
Item 7, authorize the surplus of gas department items on the attached list for disposal. Looks like a bunch of old meters and tools and things that they don't use anymore. So we're gonna say surplus on those.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Gilbert,
Second.
second by Wesley. Madam Clerk?
Dugas, Gilbert,
Yes.
Lamb Williams, yes. Poole,
Yes.
Wesley.
Yes.
Item 8, approve the surplus of gas meters as noted on the attached list for disposal. Those are just gonna be sold off as scrap.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Gilbert,
Second.
second by Dugas. Madam Clerk, call for the vote.
Dugas,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Lamb Williams, yes. Poole,
Yes.
Wesley.
Yes.
Item 9, approve the surplus of the following police department equipment. 8, point blank vest, 2 second chance vests, 1 Diamondback vest, 1 2010 white Chevrolet Tahoe unit, number 471, mileage is 144,473 miles.
And that's the one we need to change the
And
VIN
that's the
number.
VIN, the new VIN number is incorrect on your agenda. The new VIN number is 1GNMCAE 08AR225052. Also a 2011 Chevrolet Impala Silver unmarked, unit number 495. Mileage is 112,793 miles, and the VIN number is 2G1WF5EK9B1314181. And also a 2015 Chevrolet Tahoe, which is a marked unit, number 573. Mileage is 110,616 miles. The VIN number is 1GNLC2ECXFR520656. So we want to surplus all of these.
Make motion to surplus.
Motion by Wesley,
Second.
second by Gilbert. Madam Clerk, call for the votes.
Dugas,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Lamb Williams, yes. Poole,
Yes.
Wesley.
Okay, on item 10, this is one of those feel-good things that we have had the opportunity to do at some point in the past, which is really nice. In item 10, I'm asking that you authorize Mayor Gerard Landry to donate the following surplus items, which is a 2010 Chevrolet Tahoe. The VIN number is 1GNMCAE 08AR225052, and those 8 point blank bulletproof vests, 2 second chance bulletproof vests, and 1 Diamondback vest to the village of Waterproof, Louisiana. They have about 550 citizens, and they're in dire need of some equipment for their police department. So they're asking, they put out a call, through all of the Police Chiefs Association, asking for any donations. And we have this equipment that we just surplus that we're asking to donate to the city of Waterproof, Louisiana.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Gilbert, second by Dugas. Madam Clerk, please call for the.
Dugas,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Lamb Williams, yes. Poole,
Yes.
Wesley.
Yes.
Item 11, reappoint Brent Dugas and Gerald Hughes as trustees for the Mortgage Finance Authority for a term of 6 years, beginning on March 2025, ending March 2031. Both these gentlemen have served on in that position with the Mortgage Finance Authority for decades now. They've done a great job for us.
Move your
I'm sorry.
motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Dugas, second by Lang Williams. Madam Clerk, call for the votes.
Dugas,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Lamb Williams, yes. Poole,
Yes.
Wesley.
Yes.
Item 12, approve payment application number 1 in the amount of $124,367.06 to Blunt General Contractors LLC for the Spring Park Pavilion.
Yeah, good evening, Mayor and Council.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
You're good. About 70% complete on this project. We do recommend to approve this payout. I think they have a roof left to do and a few other items, but they're moving right along. It should be done by the end of the month.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Lamb Williams, second by Wesley. Madam Clerk, call for the vote.
Dugas,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Lamb Williams, yes. Poole,
Yes.
Wesley.
Yes.
Item 13, introduce an ordinance and authorize a public hearing for the exchange of .06 acres of land located at sections 43 and 44, T7S R2E GLD, Livingston Parish, Louisiana, for the purpose of widening the entryway to the city's emergency debris site to be held July the 8th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the courtroom of the municipal building at 116 North Range, Denham Springs, Louisiana. You have a map in your paperwork, and this is a swap that enhances the opening with the property owner. He's he's okay with it. We're swapping him more space to get in, and what he's receiving is more road frontage, which is a good deal for all of us.
He's happy, we're happy.
Yes, everybody's happy. That's exactly right. Motion by Gilbert,
Second.
second by Dugas. Madam Clerk?
Dugas,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Lamb Williams, yes. Poole,
Yes.
Wesley.
Yes.
Item 14, hold a public hearing for an ordinance amending the consolidated operating budget of revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2024 and ending July 30, 2025. So that's the current budget that we're in.
We do need to mention that what you have in your packet differs slightly from what was advertised. The advertisement didn't include the hotel tax fund, so it's been added to what y'all are discussing tonight.
That's the one that's less than 5%.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so the 5% is the, less than 5%, we don't have to republish the entire budget. All right, so we have a public hearing, declared open. Do we need a motion? Nope. Declare a public hearing open. Anybody here want to speak for this change to our budget? None, okay, not seeing anybody. Anybody here to speak against us changing the budget for this? Okay, motion to close.
Motion to close. Mayor, is it worth pointing out that what this is something that reconciles the budget with what's already happened so that we can move forward into
Yes.
the new budget year with a,
That is correct.
just wanted to make that point.
The hotel tax went into effect April the 1st. We just now received the information of what the dollar amount is.
Okay.
Last
Second,
this week.
motion to close public hearing.
Good.
Motion by Poole, second by Dugas. I'm sorry, Gilbert. Madam Clerk?
Dugas, Gilbert,
Yes.
Lamb Williams, yes. Poole,
Yes.
Wesley.
Yes.
All right, so we're on to item 15. And I have all kind of notes here to read tonight. Okay, item 15, adopt an ordinance amending the consolidated operating budget of revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2024 and ending July 30, 2025.
So moved.
Motion by Poole,
Second.
second by Gilbert, I'm sorry, by Wesley. Madam Clerk?
Dugas,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Lamb Williams, yes. Poole,
Yes.
Wesley.
Yes.
All right, number 16, hold a public hearing for an ordinance adopting the consolidated operating budget of revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025 and ending June 30, 2026. So declare the public hearing open. Any comments from anybody in the courtroom for the budget or anybody against anything in the budget? Nobody has raised their hands.
Move to close public hearing.
Second.
Motion by Wesley, second by Poole to close the public hearing. Madam Clerk, call for the vote, please.
Dugas,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Lamb Williams, yes. Poole,
Yes.
Wesley.
Yes.
Item 17, adopt an ordinance adopting a consolidated operating budget of revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025 and ending June 30, 2026.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Lamb Williams, second by Wesley. Madam Clerk, call for the vote.
Dugas,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Lamb Williams, yes. Poole,
Yes.
Wesley.
Yes.
Okay, we're skipping 18 and 19. We've already disposed of those. Item 20, hold a public hearing for an appeal to consider the preliminary plat of a 12.736 acre tract into lots 1 through 39 lots CA1 and CA2 located in section 48, T6S-R3E GLD, City of Denham Springs, Louisiana, Parish, Louisiana RS-833V3, requested by Draco Development LLC at 840 Hatchell Lane. So the public hearing is open. I think we have a few people that want to speak on this tonight, so be sure that CJ gets your name and address. Right. Okay.
I have something.
And we ask that we hold it down to 3 minutes each. Okay, so we're gonna go with the Forrest. Let's Forrest.
Yeah.
That's okay. Danny Turner,
Danny
right?
Turner, yep.
Address?
12211 Blackwater Road, Baker, 70714.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. So Danny Turner, 12211 Blackwater Road, Baker, Louisiana, 70714. I'm with Draco Development. The only thing we're doing is appealing a decision by planning and zoning to deny preliminary plat approval for 39 lots off Hatchell Lane. We're not asking for any variances, and we're not asking for any rezoning. All we're simply asking is for an opportunity for preliminary plat approval to subdivide the lot, which is what it's already zoned for, right? So we're not asking for any kind of variances whatsoever. There's been a lot of public opinion and outcry at the previous meetings. I understand we're gonna have a lot of that tonight, and I don't necessarily know that you guys want me to go into the drainage and the engineering. I mean, you guys all know how the process works, but this is just a preliminary plat approval. It's not, I guess, really, if you guys want me to go into it, I can. I'm not an engineer.
You've got almost 2 minutes left, so if you could just quickly
Sure.
touch the bullet points on
Okay.
that, that'd be great.
Most of the property is in flood zone X. It's a very minimal amount of dirt that's gonna be moved, very minimal. That being said, it also has to be engineered. We don't have construction plans yet. Because this is just a preliminary approval, we don't do construction plans until the preliminary approval of the plat is done. That would be, it's not the order you do things in, right? The subdivision and what we're asking checks all the boxes. We're following all the rules that you guys have, as well as the federal, state, municipalities have, governments has. It will not cause, we're not allowed by law to cause drainage impact to other areas. We can't do that. It's not, nor would we want to do that, right? As far as traffic goes, it's only 39 lots, so DOTD does not require, and they also advise us to not do a traffic impact study. DOTD told us we basically put one car on the road every 2 minutes, I believe. So if you click a button and you wait 2 minutes, another car would pass, and that would be the impact at the peak hour, like at 5 o'clock, not at 2 o'clock on a Saturday. I did.
Okay. Let him talk. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
So that's it. I mean, as far as the traffic and the drainage, all those studies will come, as far as the drainage, all that will come later through construction plans, through engineering. We also have a letter of no objection from the, I guess, the city engineers. I believe it was, actually, it's in your package. Quality, correct. They go to letter of no objection, but that's not approval. That's just saying that at this point, they have no objection to it. So, you guys have any questions?
I know this is a preliminary plat. Are there any thoughts of putting a turn lane, or have you talked to DOTD about a turn lane, or is it something you're considering for a turn lane to be turning into this neighborhood?
Absolutely not. For 39 lots, it's not justified, and you just can't do it.
And then one question that I have for you, you said quality engineers said the city has no objection.
No, I believe they're the ones, Travis, can you explain how that works? What's the deal with quality? They gave us a letter of no objection, I guess, to our engineer, to McGlynn Taylor.
For the what?
No, for the drainage.
It's for drainage, yeah.
Correct.
Basically,
It's garbage district drainage.
the drainage board approved it.
The drainage board.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. You made it.
The letterhead said quality on the thing I got back. I apologize.
All right. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. CJ, your name and address? You already, okay.
It's Rachel.
Rachel Hunter, 4464 Hyacinth Avenue, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 70808. I'm with Draco Development as well. There were a couple of comments that I heard in the crowd. I am a stickler for facts and information, so I want to touch on a couple of things. The top 3 things that I had read about and heard as far as public opinion goes is going to be traffic, so foot traffic as well as traffic on the roads, cars. School was a big deal because I know they have an elementary, junior high, and a high school. So we actually went ahead and spoke to the school district to see what their projection of impact would be as far as rise in population. I think Danny mentioned we did traffic impact study, even though it wasn't.
No, we did not do a traffic.
It's not required, but we did ask them what would it add, as far as traffic. So actually it was 1 car every 2 minutes, outside of peak hours. During peak hours, it's gonna be, an additional 10 cars, so nothing crazy. Let's see.
Could you clarify that again? At first, I think he said 1 car every 2 minutes.
During peak.
Sorry.
I heard during
Okay.
peak, after 2 minutes.
A preliminary assessment based on traffic studies in use for over a decade shows that a development of this size would add only an additional 27 cars during normal periods. This equates to an additional 1 car every 2 minutes, and during peak hours, this results in only an additional 10 cars. So 37 total. One comment at the meeting was emergency services being impacted. We did make an informal request to the fire district. They didn't have any record of any kind of instance where there was an emergency situation. They weren't able to access that area when they needed to. So, I mean, we kind of just left it at that. And as far as foot traffic goes, I saw something about a sidewalk. We kind of went above and beyond as kind of a good show of faith and said, hey, we're not doing sidewalks throughout the neighborhood, but we'll put a sidewalk on the front road frontage. So, this is, I think, our 3rd time, right, trying this, 4th time trying this.
First time to us.
First up here.
First time to y'all, but as far as like the back and forth, and so, we hear the public, we get it. I mean, not everybody's gonna agree, that's just how it goes, but we are trying to make concessions to show good faith, saying, hey, like, we hear y'all, we get it, y'all are residents here. We wanna develop this so that we can add to the community and, so we're doing our best to work with those issues.
I'm sorry, you mentioned y'all talked to the school district.
We did.
Or school board, what was their response to?
On the last page.
Projection impact for each school was as follows. Elementary is 13 students, junior high 7 students, and high school's 4 students.
Any other questions from the council?
He also mentioned the sidewalk. So that's just gonna be a sidewalk on the frontage that the subdivision has, and that's it?
Correct.
May I just say, I think that us putting a sidewalk in front of a subdivision with down Hatcher Lane has no sidewalks is silly. That was just a concession we were gonna make.
You might have it on your plat, but just to be clear, this is a curb and gutter.
Yes, sir.
It is.
So if I may ask a question, Mr. Turner said, and I should have asked this while you were still at the podium, I apologize, but you said that the majority of the lots were flood zone X. Is it safe to assume that the ones that are not are in the northeast corner of this, backing up to Willow Glen? Is that wrong?
Southeast, yeah.
Which one is it?
Southeast.
Southeast, I'm sorry, you're right, southeast. Okay, so how many of those lots do not comply with X?
Well, they will all comply with X once we're done.
Right, and that's accomplished with fill, right?
Correct, and that's also preliminary numbers that were given by McGlynn Taylor. They have to go up there and shoot elevations and everything. It's very preliminary.
Okay.
All right, anybody else, council? Okay. Anybody else like to speak for? Okay, all right, they'll speak, would I like to speak against?
Michelle Molzan. Oh, sure.
I don't want to do this in 3 minutes, that's just not right. All right, don't start yet, Robert. I'm Dennis Myers, 1104 Willow Glen, Denham Springs. I've lived at 1104 Willow Glen for 37 years. Been in Denham Springs all my life. I know some of you better than others, but I've been here when this town was Mayberry. I understand that. I rode my bike to the Carroll Theater. Paid my 35 cents, went to the movie. All that time is gone. I get it. Growth is good. Denham Springs is growing. It's a good city. It's a great place. I raised my family here. It's a little interesting for me on a personal standpoint. It's hard for me to be here right now and talk in front of everybody because of the fact that I know one of the developers. I like the guy a lot. And his father and I are very close friends. So, but as friends are, sometimes you disagree. So I'm going to state my case, mainly because it does affect me. Let's go straight to the fact. Planning and zoning did turn this thing down 3 times. Not once, twice, 3 times. They knew that these guys did everything legally. They knew they were in legal crosshairs, the planning and zoning, but they still said no. Because they said this just isn't right. This isn't the time to expand and keep adding more things to Hatcher Lane, which has 2 lanes, no shoulders, and no sidewalks. It was supposed to be funding approved back in 2017 through the Safe Routes of Schools federal funding program to put sidewalks, but I'm not going to ask about that. Somebody else will, I'm sure. They want to know what happened to that money, where did it go? My point is this, okay? Here's Hatcher Lane, that 2-lane road. And I was told, don't just say health, safety, and welfare. Make it tangible. Well, the only tangible thing I can come up with so far is we already lost a fire truck because an 18-wheel got in front of it and had nowhere to go. It crashed and totaled out. Last I heard, a fire truck was $1 million. I don't know how that paid out. I don't know how the city paid, but we lost $1 million fire truck already. How about Cochrane Road? That was a 2-lane state highway. Had very few sidewalks, no crosswalks. That all changed a few years ago when a student named Bryce at Denham Freshman High was struck and killed trying to cross the road. Now it has sidewalks. It's expanded. It's safe. The speed limit is down to 35 miles an hour. And thankfully, Denham Springs Police Department is at Northside Baptist Church about every other day. So it's a safer road. And if you haven't gone, it's there. I understand. Now let's talk about Lockhart. Now, I know Lockhart's not in the city limits, but the thousands of vehicles that drive down Hatcher Lane every day, thousands, maybe 1 in 10, 2 in 10, live right off of Hatcher Lane. But all of them are going off. They're going to Lockhart, Linder, everywhere north and south of town. Well, just a few months ago, a 13-year-old boy was struck and killed riding his bike on Lockhart Road. There's no room for it. There's no room. Are we going to wait for Hatcher Lane for this to happen, for a student from Denham Junior High to get run over to say, we should expand it? I know my time is up, but I'll just tell you this. I want to know exactly how much land is going to be added behind, to your point, Mr. Wesley. How much dirt, Robert, is being raised. I live on Willow Glen. If I walk out my backyard, in 2016, the average depth of that water in those woods that they're wanting to build was 2.5 feet deep. I want to know what base flood elevation is. Because if they've got to raise this thing 4 feet, that's as high as this podium. And I don't want to look up at a 1-story house at a guy in his kitchen window, looking down at me and feel safe. Feel safe that I'm never going to flood or anything's going to be fine. Look, growth is a good thing.
Growth without infrastructure is not a good thing. My big point, more than anything on a personal basis, is develop Hatcher Lane. Make it like Cochran Road. Put the sidewalks, make it safe, then expand. Because I promise you, the 2 to 10 cars you're talking about adding, that's not what the traffic issue is going to be. Because Denham is going to keep building it. You want to know what that land is going to look like? Okay, right now, go on the side of East Side Elementary. That's dirt that has to be, that's dirt work that has to be done. The last thing I'm gonna leave with is this. I'm sorry to run on. There's another 13-acre plot connected to this one. Connected to it, right next to it between it and Jason Drive. If you don't think these guys or another construction company are foaming at the mouth to get their hands on that property, you're gonna now have 80 lots over there, not 39. So growth is a good thing. Growth is not a bad thing, but without the proper infrastructure, it's a recipe for disaster. And my last thought is, your freedom should end where mine began, and vice versa. That's what this country was founded on. Thank you.
Anybody else to speak against?
Rhonda? Oh, it's great. Come on, go first.
Let's start your time. Try to adhere to the 3 minutes if possible.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
I understand. No, I understand. Okay.
Okay, good evening. Speaking on the accident with the fire truck real quick, the residents that lived in Willow Point
Name and
could
address.
not.
Does she have your name and address?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
This is Michelle Moran.
Oh, she has it.
Sorry.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's okay.
1507 Jason Drive.
Okay.
The residents at Willow Point could not go in or out for 5 hours. We were stuck there. And I know for sure that there was a mom that couldn't even get in to feed her newborn. And then the traffic study, anyone that travels that road knows that that's not right. Please explain why it takes anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes to pull out of Jason to get on Hatchell. And then, even then, it's because somebody was nice enough to stop and let people out. So, I'm gonna read some of the city's master plans. This is from Denham Strong. Provide a safe driving and walking environment that allows residents to travel to destinations by foot and car. Maintain a resilient infrastructure system that could withstand disruption, as is Hatchell cannot withstand disruption. Create and organize an efficient process to upgrade city roads and other infrastructure before problems occur. We already have many safety issues on Hatchell. Please explain to us, help us understand how it makes sense to make things worse. Improve safety, street safety and mobility. This was labeled as high priority. Implement a complete streets approach as infrastructure upgrades are made. Because of Denham Strong, the city of Denham Springs Bicycle and Pedestrian Master Plan was created. Hatchell Lane was specifically mentioned several times. From that, ensure bicycle and pedestrian options are available between residential areas and schools. That master plan then led to the comprehensive annual financial report for the year ended June 2019. Hatchell Lane sidewalks and drainage project. The city has been awarded funding for the construction of sidewalks of Hatchell Lane from Cochran to Denham Springs Junior High through the Safe Routes to School federal funding program. Through June 2019, the city spent $3,390 related to this project. And this shows at some point, the city found our safety was urgent enough to start spending money on it. Many of you were on the city council when these plans were created and approved. It reveals that you know what the community knows. Hatchell is already unsafe and cannot handle anymore. This decision comes down to whose interests you all will protect. The residents of Denham Springs or the developers. Checking off all the boxes should not equate to human lives. We need you to safeguard our well-being. Please vote no and show us that our safety, quality of life, and the voice of this community are your true priorities. Thank you.
Anybody else wants to speak against, please come forward.
I want to apologize for being late, but it was seriously that traffic on that so I couldn't get out. I ain't been here time, give me your name and your address. Donna Dearman, 739 Darren Drive.
Yes, ma'am. Could you state it again? We couldn't hear you up here.
My name?
Your name and address.
Donna Dearman,
Okay.
739 Darren Drive, Denham Springs. And, should I say again the part where, I was late? I'm sorry I was late, but anyway, the one thing that I would like to agree with Dennis, I think what's his name, Dennis, the first guy, about if they raise the height of the elevation of the property where the woods is now, that is gonna send all of that water into our neighborhood. And, you know, to act like it's not a big deal, I mean, already, every time it rains, the water from the woods runs into my yard because my property is at an elevation of 43.6 feet and the woods is 45 feet in some places and 47 in others. So all of that water is already headed for my yard every time it rains and I can do nothing about it. But they're obviously gonna have to build that land up in order to fix it. By the time they take out all those trees that won't give us any more oxygen, but once they're gone. But once they take all that out and do the building of the houses and all that concrete and everything, it's gonna come up more. And I just don't think it should be even legal for somebody to come build a structure that's gonna destroy the one I already built. You know, if my property was too low, then they should have never approved the building of something on the level that my property is on. But they approved it, and so since they did, how can we allow somebody else to build something else that's higher and that's gonna drain back on our property? You know, and I'm in an X, my property is in an X, and I'm wondering how this is gonna even affect the, the flooding insurance and all that. Honestly, I don't have flood insurance because I had it. At first I got it right after the flood. I don't have it anymore because it's high, it's so high I can't even afford it. I don't make a lot of money. I mean, I should not have to be flooded just because I can't afford that flood insurance. And it's just not right for somebody else to, you know, build a property up higher than an adjacent property just because mine was there already. They should already be aware of the subdivisions and the properties that are outlined in this area they want to build. But we have to have rights too. And like the other man said, I believe in progress and all that. I'm not trying to hold the city back or anything, but why would you destroy people who've already been there? You know,
Okay.
Anyway, I guess I talked too long, but there should also be more than one way out of all these areas. If there's only one and something goes wrong, nobody can, you know, get in and out.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, what was the elevation of your property? You said the elevation of your property was what?
It is 43.6.
43.6. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, anybody else that would like to speak? Name and address, please.
Rhonda Noble, 732 Darren Drive, and I agree with Dennis said, and Michelle and Donna, and they really said a lot, and I agree with all that. And then I have a little bit more to say that might not be the same, but anyway, we can't continue to cut down trees and have concrete where the water that comes has nowhere to go. This morning, when I look at my house and I look across, I see these beautiful woods, okay? And this morning, I was in my house with the door closed. Birds were just singing. I said, Lord, listen to the beautiful birds. They cut those trees down. Where are those birds gonna go? And the other critters that are out there. You know, we can't just think about making money. More money, more money. And there's just too many vehicles having to go on the Hatchell Road. I never was a driver that would pull out. That's what I have to do now. I have to take a chance, and some cars coming this way, and I'm gonna have to come out and go that way. I shouldn't have to feel like I'm in danger to get out of my subdivision. And I know that there's a big subdivision that's behind us, off adjacent to the back, and I know that's the parish. And that should have never been allowed. How could that be allowed to have that many houses and no way out but Jason? It's wrong. There needs to be more ways out, and there needs to be no more buildings on Hatchell until, like I said, like they said, infrastructure is there. And I guess that's all I have to say.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Melanie Rum. My address is 763 Darren Drive. I've been living there since 1986 and have watched Denham Springs grow from a small town to a pretty sizable city. And we've enjoyed the growth. And at the same time, the amount of people in the city is getting to be a lot. Anytime I drive around the city, there's traffic, and a lot of it. And you guys know that the more people, the higher the crime, the more public services are needed. And so I think the Planning and Zoning Commission made a good decision 3 times in a row to look out for public safety and look out for the interests of the people that are already living here. And I'm gonna ask you to uphold their decision. And I'm gonna ask you to keep protecting the citizens that are already living where we are and not allow this project to go forward. There's also one other thing I wanna say. There's other subdivisions going up that are not on Hatchell Lane that some of those cars feed into Hatchell. And so we're seeing some of that traffic as well. And there's quite a few other areas that are being built up, and so that traffic is coming through there as well. And Hatchell is very dangerous. It really is, because most of the time when I'm driving down that road, I'm seeing at least one person on a bicycle and at least 1 or 2 people walking. And that's consistent all the time. And I can't tell you how many times I've watched people almost get hit by a vehicle, and it really is not safe. And so I think progress is good as well, but let's be prepared and be wise with it first. And then, after we have prepared the infrastructure, go ahead and build. Thank you very much.
My name is Margaret Smith. I live on 1311 Lee Drive, Denham Springs, right next to Melanie. Talking about the traffic, if you go straight down to Cochran and turn a right on there, you go a little further down, and they're building at least 50 duplexes. So where's that traffic gonna go? Okay, and then I've been living at my house almost for 39 years this year, and what they said last time, they were gonna build this up to 4 foot, and they were gonna give them a road out, you know, if they have to go out. They're not gonna have to go out. We're gonna have to go out. How are we gonna get out if Jason's flooded? And it takes 10 minutes to get out of Jason. I usually have to turn a right go to the church so I can turn around and go where I'm gonna go. But you gotta think of the duplexes that are getting built. And the dirt road behind my fence is just a one-way. The Cox and AT&T go in, but they have to back out again. So there's no way you can use that road. And there's no way that 39 homes and that small ditch back there is gonna take care of everything. Everybody's gonna flood when it pours. I have insurance, but why do I have to flood again? And trying to get out of Hatchell is horrible. And like I say, the duplexes over there are going to go down Hatchell. So it's gonna be more cars than any. I just wanted to say my piece. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Michelle Crosby, 915 Willowbrook. So my house is like right by Willow Glen, okay? I didn't flood in 2016 at that house, but I'm prepared that it's going to happen. That said, I have a quick question for you guys. I may be able to save quite a little time. I know that Drake, is that correct? Draco said that this is just a preliminary plat. Okay, we're just looking for the preliminary plat. Okay, that's fine. Question I have is, are the people gonna be involved when we get to the construction phase, when we get to the final plat phase, when we get all the way through the process? Or is this our only chance to speak?
Are people, like in the design?
Yeah, I mean, they're saying, oh, this is just the preliminary plat. We've gotta get the traffic, we've gotta do whatever it is they have to do, right? To get to a final plat or construction drawings or whatever else. My question is simply, is this our only chance to speak? Or are we also gonna be able to comment on any other part of the phases?
If they needed variances.
My point being is, you've just answered, this is our only chance to speak. Because as soon as the preliminary plat is approved, it's over.
Well,
Okay, I mean, it's over. So the question that I've got with regard to, the second thing I want to talk is, we already had somebody that talked about Denham Strong identified as the establishment of the complete streets ordinance as a necessary complementary step to the Denham Springs Bicycle and Pedestrian Master Plan. In the master plan, there was a complete streets ordinances for Denham Springs included as Appendix A. The question that I have is, was that ever passed? The second question that I have with regard to that is part of the model rule had said, well, wait a minute, the ordinance is essentially going to remain in effect until if and when some court overrules it. So my question is, number one, do we have a complete streets ordinance, okay? That can, in fact, require, I believe, the city of Denham Springs to make modifications requiring pedestrian facilities or designated bikeways such as sidewalks, crosswalks, bike lanes, shared use paths during new construction, ... Okay, so I'm not reading the whole thing. Require sidewalks or bicycle accommodations by roadway type with greater buffer or separation for higher volume, higher speed roads. Require dedication, reservation, or development of shared use paths in new developments where a shared use path is currently planned. My favorite, adopt traffic calming programs, policies, and standards. My question is this: where are the logging trucks and concrete trucks going to go? And how are we as residents of the Denham Springs, when the development is in its phases, okay, be able to travel safely on that road? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, anybody else need to speak against? Name and address, please, ma'am.
Joanne Carter, 1027 Burlingame. I don't live on Hatchell Road, but I use it, and my one comment is that the people who want to build don't live there. They're going to build and they're going to go to their lovely little homes. They're impacting all of these people. So do we take care of these people, or does the city take care of these people? My comment. Thank you.
Anybody else to
I just
speak?
have one quick question. I don't need to talk or anything. I'm 100 years old and I'm still back on what the lady was saying over there. I think you said that, the traffic thing, y'all estimated, or somebody estimated, 27 cars, addition for 39 lots?
37 cars total during peak hours. So, per hour, yeah, per hour, so.
Miss Jeannie, would you state your name and address, please, for the record?
Okay. Jeannie Hudson, and I'm at 1018 Bay Tree Drive in the Willows.
Thank you.
I'm just, I mean, 39 lots, okay, so we're not saying that you're gonna have a car for each lot even, when usually it's gonna be at least 2 or 3 for each new resident?
So if you own multiple cars and you have a subdivision, the way I understand, for DOT, is their numbers, not mine.
Okay.
Not every single person in every single house, every single car that they own, leave at the same time.
Have you been around Denham lately?
I'm just explaining the way it works. The way that
Well, that may be the way it's used, but it's not realistic. You know it's not realistic. Everybody here knows that's not realistic. You know, every house is gonna have at least 2 vehicles. And if they have teenagers or whatever, they're gonna have more. And I was just trying to clarify, I thought maybe I wasn't hearing it properly or processing it correctly, but, you know, at minimum, you're gonna have 40 cars coming and going whenever. That's regardless of what time of the day or night or whatever.
You still got cars coming out of Jason.
That's right.
That's in the
right.
300.
So that's really the only thing I wanted to clarify. I just, you're saying 37 cars a minute for 39 lots. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Per hour.
Per hour.
In peak hours, but
Total per hour and peak hours.
again, these are not our numbers. It's from DOT.
I understand that. I'm not accusing you. I just was trying to clarify because it's not realistic. I mean, it's just not realistic.
Average for 24 hours, so we're counting like 11 PM as part of that average.
2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Yeah, I retired from DOTD. They don't always give the correct answer.
Okay, that's, okay, so let's start over
Probably
here.
I'm not gonna take 3 minutes. My name is Michelle Miner. I live at 1007 Jason Drive. How are y'all doing? This has been a lot. The distance between the start of their subdivision and Jason Drive is equal to the light at Centerville and Range and the store right next to the old Western Auto. That's it, 500 feet. He's gonna come up and say, hey, that's the input of LSU Stadium. Well, it's also the infield of Denham Springs High School football field, which he didn't know about because he's not from Denham Springs.
That's not true.
But, okay, I'm sorry. Well, the other guy that came and spoke was. But anyway, here's the deal. I work from home and my kitchen sink where I make my coffee looks out on the second house on the corner. So every morning I get the unfortunate pleasure of watching the traffic jam, literal traffic jam that happens every morning. And adding 20 cars to that traffic jam is going to be impossible. I've almost gotten hit coming out. We're friendly people, and we stop and let people come in and out. The Hatchel lane is not double yellow line, so people can fly around. And I've almost gotten hit, and I've allowed people to come out, and they've almost gotten hit. And it's a death trap waiting. And I've had unfortunately stood there and helped people after they've gotten hit. I was home the day that the fire truck and the flatbed hit, and I was on with a client. I'm a therapist, so I was on with a client, and they heard the accident. And I ran outside. Luckily, they had already called back to the station and had people coming, and it was horrific. It's just horrific. And whether it's 20 cars or 2 cars or 10 cars or however many,
it's a lot to add to our little bit of distance, a 1/10 of a mile, let's say that instead of 500 feet, a 1/10 of a mile down the road is gonna be a lot. And it's a lot to absorb on Hatchell Lane. And the planning commission did say no 3 times, and we're begging you to please say no and help us with this. So that's all I got to say. Thank you very much for listening to us. Appreciate it.
Anybody else need to speak against? Name and address, please, ma'am.
Sure. Jennifer Johnson, 757 Darren Drive. It's sad to know that we're still dealing with this. I'm tired of dealing with this. The answer needs to be no. I've lived in my house for 25 years, raised my kids in 25 years, sent them to Denham schools, and I'm an educator in this parish. It saddens me that we're still doing this. The numbers that they're giving with traffic, I know I have my neighbor who lives 5 houses down is the one that let me out onto Hatchell, and I know I probably passed 10 cars that were stopped so I could turn out. The access road is a problem. It gives me anxiety to think that if we have another 2016 flood, we're not gonna be able to get out in our neighborhood because we have Willow Point subdivision and where we're at that live on Jason and Darren and all that, we cannot get out. We will not be able to get out. So we don't have the access road. Also, apparently there's supposed to be a 200,000 square foot pond behind my house, 30 feet behind my house. I'm concerned about the noise of all these concrete trucks. Again, where are we gonna go to get down the road when I wanna get home from work or when I wanna get out and go to the grocery store because we have to wait on lines of trucks to go in and dump concrete, and how is all that noise gonna affect everything else? Tearing the trees down and everything else. City limits. My street is city limits, but you go down one street further in my neighborhood, they're not in city limits, they're Livingston Parish. And somehow or another, I've been hearing somehow in March that if you had a road and you were in city limits, it would somehow be protected. And I don't know if there was some kind of development issue, and if that's with the parish, I don't know. But that's something maybe to look at, because I've heard about that several times, that's been on the news. So just to quickly rubber stamp this, there's gonna be a lot of things that's gonna come down on the residents that are in there that we're gonna have to deal with because of this development. It's too fast, too soon. Traffic is probably the biggest thing. I mean, that was my son's friend that was killed in that accident off of Hatchell. So, or off of Cockerham. So, you know, like I said, I'm one for seeing development of Denham, that's great, but this area is not conducive to this type of subdivision, and it's definitely gonna have repercussions on us as residents. So please think about us when you try to make your decision, because this is not the time nor the place. There's other places that can be developed, but Hatchell Lane has not changed at all in years to help take on the onset of increased traffic. And there's a lot of people that go down Hatchell Lane that don't even live in Denham. They use that to get up to Watson or to get to the interstate. They don't even live over here, but they use our roads. Potholes, sinkholes, they keep filling the ground over there on Hatchell. You gotta use big potholes. That's just from people traveling it, especially like dump trucks and semis. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, anybody else to speak against? Yes, sir. Name and address, please, sir.
Paul Barris, and at 29244 Red Willow Drive. First of all, I'm not for or against any progress from ever happening. And no ill will to you guys, okay? I think that a study needs to be done on drainage. Like my house right now, right above the 100-year floodplain. We got this much water in 2016. And what is my wife's idea? We're gonna remodel the whole thing. It's like, so yeah, we're almost done. All right, I'll get off that soapbox. And like somebody else was saying about the traffic getting in and out, like I have the State Farm little tag, I get hit every time I pull out of Jason Drive from having to get on the gas just to get out. Everybody knows that. And does the city actually have an ordinance that protects people that stop traffic from, so people can get in and out of Jason Drive?
No, sir.
Why not?
What? Stop, does the city have an ordinance for citizens to stop traffic
Yes,
and allow
yes,
people in, like,
yes.
get out of their vehicles?
No, I mean, just stop their vehicles right there, because it has to happen all the time.
Yeah, well, that would be, I mean, if you're, I mean.
State law actually says you cannot stop.
Cannot stop, yeah, that's.
Oh, I'm not getting out and saying, stop like this.
You can't stop them all block the roadway.
You can't.
Yeah, so but that's what it's taking to actually get in and out of that subdivision right now. And
That's what law says you can't.
I understand that.
No, but
State law, right?
what I'm saying is that would be state law, so even if it would
Yeah.
it supersedes us. is all
Yeah,
I'm
not a
saying.
problem.
I'm just trying to-
You understand what I'm saying though, right?
Yeah, I see it happen.
And it happens every day, right?
Yeah, we keep.
I'm like, why is this traffic going 45 miles an hour down this road right now?
Well, it's not, traffic doesn't do 45 miles an hour down the road.
Why is it at 45?
If y'all want me to speak.
Go right ahead, sure.
Okay, so everybody already knows that Hatch Lane is basically a parking lot, especially at schools on time.
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna sit there, and you're gonna sit there, and you're gonna sit there. Turn left out any neighborhood, it's a gamble, you know. I wouldn't turn left, I'd turn right. And I'd go down to Maple Street, and I'd go up to the yellow jacket red light, and I'd come out. And that's what I do when I drive around when on patrol. So I don't go left off Jason Drive if I have to call out. So the traffic is bad on Hatch Lane. It's a parking lot, especially during the primary school time. Will 27 cars and then an hour affect it? Not really, because you just have such a sheer volume of cars going down that road anyway. There's a lot, we've all been down it, we all avoided at peak hours. You know, we avoid turning left till we come out of the neighborhood, and we try to, I drive around the city all day long making rights home. So I try not to turn left anywhere. But,
You give them 3 minutes to?
But, the saying, the traffic problem is incorrect, no, it's not. It's people dropping their kids off at school, it's, especially when junior, well, you got the junior high, and then we had the elementary schools relocated there, and everybody remembers what kind of nightmare that was, to where we had to put a crossing guard right there.
I was glad while they were there, because the crossing guard used to let us out.
Now, crossing guards back at our schools, so, well, she's got to take care of the children there. But, the Hatch Lane is a parking lot, and it is
They need somebody there when school's not going on. Have to let us
Yeah.
stop.
All right. We'll wrap it up.
Three-way stop?
I'm gonna try. Okay, so, they mentioned about, you were talking about curb and gutter out in front of this subdivision, is that right, along Hatchel?
Their street will be curved.
I thought I understood that's what he said.
Yes, it is a curb.
I'm not saying that I'm wrong or you're wrong,
No, we're not gonna curb and gutter Hatchel.
but you're putting a sidewalk.
I'm willing to put a sidewalk, even though I think it's silly, yes.
Yeah, well,
It's not long enough to make an impact, but I'll do it.
That's just right at the entrance, so is that what you're, is that what you're
On my
saying?
property, correct.
Okay, yeah, I just want to be sure.
But no, sir, to answer your question, we're not be curb and gutter Hatchel Lane.
okay, so there's not, and what I'm understanding, there's not gonna be a drainage study done, period,
No,
for Hatchel Lane.
I understand Gravity Drainage District has already said that one would not be required.
That's not correct, sir.
Yeah, but we also had a 2016 flood.
There will be.
There will be one done.
Yes, sir, we're
But,
required to do that.
okay, I'm sorry.
If I can
After y'all, but after y'all get permission to start construction, right?
That's
Greg
incorrect.
would like to.
If I can speak to that real quick.
Okay.
So yeah, again, this is just the plat approval. This has nothing to do with the construction, the actual construction of it. So once it's approved, if it's approved, then they have to go through the design process. And the design process goes through however many engineers it needs to take to go through to not adversely impact upstream or downstream the discharge of water. So it will be in the design. There are multiple ways to do the design. There could be storage on site. There could be detention on site. It's not, very likely not going to be a retention pond. A retention pond is one that holds water. This would be a detention pond, which it would slowly leach out and one way or the other, but it would hold X amount of water to meet a 25-year flood or 25-year rain event. That's what the design is. That's a typical standard design.
Okay, so, so that design right there, is that, was that run with the 2016 flood?
No, we increased that from the 10-year, from 2016, they were designed for, we can't design for a 2016 flood. Nobody's gonna be able to design a neighborhood or a city to hold trillions of gallons of water. You understand, that was a
Yeah, I understand
flood.
that, and I want these other people to understand that also.
Right.
Now, my real statement here is like, if we get a 50-year rain event that happens right here.
Right.
Is that gonna be able to handle it?
So the city's not gonna be able to handle it. The amount of water that we would have in the city because of a concentrated, that's why people have insurances for those kinds of oddball events. So that's why I have insurance. That's why you have insurance, or for those kinds of things that are out of the normal scope of events. That's why we have fire insurance. Nobody plans on having a fire, but you have fires.
Yes, and I'm not arguing the fire point right here. I'm arguing the water point right here.
I understand.
Okay, so all the improvements that has been done by gravity drainage, in my opinion, has helped out a great deal down Jason Drive and in Willow Point.
Yes, sir.
Now, on Jason Drive, there has been events where it has come up over the curves, per se, and not all the way to the houses, but close to it. And there still needs to be improvement for drainage to make this run off a lot faster than what it's doing right now. And with this being raised up right here, it's just gonna sheet off right into that same neighborhood right there.
All right, well, I think we're kind of getting off into the weeds now, talking about the 2016 flood, so.
No, I'm still talking about this event right here, because it's gonna take a lot of water and throw it on Jason Drive right now. Is it not? I mean, right now it's a detention pond. You're taking that detention pond and picking it up, aren't you?
I have no idea what the plan is.
Well, he just said he's building it up.
I didn't say that, sir.
He'll be required to have engineering studies that prove that none of his water will go onto Jason Drive. If he can't meet that, the subdivision will not go forward.
Okay.
That's part of the engineering requirements that happen after the preliminary plat is approved.
Whatever water is going, wherever it's going now is where it would continue to go. So they can't increase the amount of water.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's the purpose of this. They can't increase the amount of water. So
Yeah.
people that are already
I don't think
receiving
they will
water.
increase it. It's just gonna run off faster now.
Well, again, it could be
They could do
detained.
that, that would be
It
an
could be
increase.
detained and you have smaller drain. It's all in the engine, the way it's engineered, sir.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but you're building it up right here. It's gonna sheet off faster. Even if this is full over here, it's gonna sheet off faster. Is it not? Am I missing something?
I think
You're an engineer,
possibly
right?
so. I am not, but
But you sound like one.
But I read enough. I read
You're
enough.
making these statements.
I read enough drawings.
All right.
to
So
know
do
that
I. I do it every day. I actually do flood management plans every day. Not every day, but annually almost, yeah. So I understand this is an event. This is not just this one little subdivision event right here. This is a whole city event, in my opinion.
And that's not what we're here to discuss this evening, please.
Well, it should be.
Well, I would not disagree with you. That's a conversation we all need to have.
So, and I don't mean to jump off on another tangent altogether, but behind Willow Point, I saw dump trucks going back there, and I saw on Google Earth today, it looked like they opened up a pond back there. You probably know about it. I don't know anything
I don't
about
know anything about it, sir.
it. Okay.
Okay? Thank you. Okay, appreciate you. All right, hang on. So we need, yes, ma'am, okay, we have one lady here. Name and address, please, ma'am. All right. Name and address, please.
Madeline Luke. I live at 1107 Jason Drive.
Okay.
I've been there 48 years. My oldest son been 48. He was 4 months when we moved on Jason Drive. I was the last house on the street with the sidewalk. We were promised by builders when they came in the subdivision, they weren't gonna build the little cheap houses on our street. They were gonna build brick houses. Well, a few of the houses came up, low-income houses. We were upset about that. What price you said these houses are gonna start at? You told me at the library. You don't remember the price you told me you was gonna build them
I
for?
don't necessarily know that.
You stated $360,000 for one house.
Probably more than that.
At least, yes.
Oh, now it's more.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. What little road you gonna use to get emergency people out of that street?
I'm sorry.
What road is he gonna use to get people out of that subdivision he's planning to build?
Okay.
I know what street he's gonna use. You're
Ma'am?
gonna use the little the royalty street where they built a street, a gravel road.
Ma'am?
Where they have royalty property.
Your comments are to the council.
Okay, they
The
had
question is to the
royalty.
council.
I had royalty all. They built a gravel road, that's what he had talked about using as an emergency street to get out of that subdivision.
Yeah.
That can't even fit but one car,
That's what I told him.
and that's what he's saying, they're gonna use that.
Okay.
And he don't even remember the price he told me. When I went to the library, when they had a meeting, we went.
Okay. All right. It's all right.
And in 2018 or 19, 7 houses on our street flooded.
Ma'am.
Okay, why
Comments to the
hasn't the
council.
city finished the drainage problem by the canals on the left side? The right side is finished, but the left side is not. People are starting to put tree branches, I don't know if it's from the yard or if it's from the ditch, but nothing's being done on that problem. They said it was gonna be finished. When is it gonna be finished?
I'm not sure what project you're talking about. If it's normal maintenance on the property to the north side of Jason? Is that what you're talking about?
I live at 1107 on the left-hand side going down the road.
Okay.
About 10 or 15 houses on the left, or maybe 8, I don't know. There's drainage on each side. They covered the right side in it. It was a canal on each side. They covered
I
it.
know exactly which, the left-hand side is gonna remain open so that we can keep it clean.
Was covered. The left-hand side is not covered.
It's gonna remain open so that we can maintain it, so that we can clean it.
But every time it rains, I go look and there's water on each side of the street
Well, I can double check that to see.
to go to the back.
I can double check that and make sure it's open. But that drainage goes under, where that's open, it goes under Jason,
Yeah.
it goes across
And
that
then-
main track.
I went and talked to a man last night that lives back in the new part where you said, the new section, the drainage. He said, do you think they fixed that problem? I said, I saw the trucks going up and down Jason Drive. In 2019, we got a brand new road. Cause I bought a car in 2019 and I got stuck trying to get out the subdivision, cause when they rebuilt it, it was awful. We had rains,
Okay,
rain
that-
after rain, and
Okay.
they had to lift my car and shove me out
Okay,
of the
this-
subdivision.
Okay, this is a different topic than what we're here to discuss.
Well, it's
This
about
is-
the flooding.
Oh,
It's due to rain.
Okay,
Now we need a new road again.
okay, all right.
But I'm not trying to say y'all doing wrong, but I don't think y'all doing this right.
All right, thank you,
That's
ma'am.
all I wanted to let y'all know. Thank you.
Thank you so much, I appreciate you. All right, yes, sir. Name and address, please.
Keith Stark, 764 Patricia Drive here in Denham. Am I to understand correctly, this is to subdivide this one plot of land, 39 residential plus 2 commercial?
No, sir.
This is not
CA is common area.
common area.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
So 39 residential.
okay, so 39 residentials, no commercial at the
No, sir.
front.
No
Okay,
commercial.
all right. I still oppose it based on the problems with traffic. I live off Patchell. We're in the neighborhood directly across from the fire department. And there are times where you can't pull out of our neighborhood because the traffic is backed up all the way to in front of Carter's. So, you know, if you're there trying to get out when the high school's going in, good luck. So, I'll be brief. That's all I have to say. Everyone else covered what I wanted to say as well.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else wants to speak against? All right, then one last chance. Is there anybody else that wants to speak for? Yes, sir.
Danny Turner again. Do I get an opportunity for a rebuttal to these things since I've already went? I don't know what your procedure is.
You have 3 minutes, sir.
Okay. So I want to clear up a couple things I think that maybe has been misconstrued. We will be doing a drainage impact study. We'll follow all the federal laws, all the appropriate municipal laws that has to be done, right? We can't just do what we want to do. Also, to say everyone's mind at ease, we're not adding 4 foot of dirt to anything. If I have to add 4 foot of dirt, I can't do the project, right? It's going to be a minimal. We project a minimal amount of dirt. It has to be a minimal amount of dirt, or I can't do it. These are not $300,000 lots. These are $75,000 lots. So it's a minimal amount of dirt, and if anything, the drainage plan is going to improve the drainage off the site in the area. So everyone, you're welcome. So as far as the traffic goes, all we can go by is DOTD and their guidelines. I'm not a traffic engineer, but they're telling us the data we gave earlier is accurate according to the state highway. We are doing the right things. We believe we're doing the right things for the right reasons. We're not here to negatively impact anyone in the community. My partner lives around the corner from the subdivision on Cockerham Road. We're not out of town, out of state, big, rich, greedy developers. We're small business people. That's all we are. So as far as drainage, it should actually improve the drainage in the area. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. All right, council, any questions on your part right now?
I have any questions, but if we could get just a quick, there's been so many questions about how the sidewalks happen. Is there just something, a quick synopsis of why?
The Safe Routes to School program was started by Jimmy Durbin in the late to early 2012, 2013, when I came into office in 2014. We continued to work on that, and the $3,000 expenditure was for Mr. Bergeron to do the contact of every property owner on Hatchell to make sure they understood what the process was going to be. When we finished that process, we found out that the federal dollars program is what was followed, and what was going to be actual safe route money was going to be state dollars. And so we have not been able to resurrect that program to get that sidewalk done. So the Safe Routes is still in effect, but we have yet to come up with enough energy and time to do the study again so that we can go back to the state and apply for those dollars, okay? Anything else on that?
No, I just want to, because a lot of people have asked, and I didn't want any kind of misconceptions about, because I know the city's worked very hard on that and put a lot of time into it, and like the rules were kind of changed halfway on, so I didn't want people to think it was something where we had dropped the ball, or that there was something not being addressed on our end.
Sure. No, we're still actively working towards that end result, okay? All right, so we need a motion.
Mayor, I would just say real quick that just because I want to put this out there, I am opposed to doing this, and I can tell you why. There's a fundamental reason that hasn't changed in many years. My son, when he went to that junior high school, used to walk Hatchell to get home. That same son now has been out of the Marine Corps for 7 years, I believe. So for that length of time, the safety associated with that roadway has been an issue for me. A lot of what we heard tonight is quality of life issues, every one of which are legitimate, every one of which. I'm not saying flooding is quality of life. That's a real property loss potential, and I get that. But things like traffic, for instance, is primarily a quality of life issue. Is it a legally acceptable means for standing in the way of the project? Probably not. But I tell you what that is something, again, that has been an issue for a long time on Hatchell, and that's the issue of safety. If that is ever grounds to stand in the way of a project, it's this project. If you can't invoke that here, then I'm not sure anything qualifies to be a safety-related issue. So I am gonna move to deny this at the appropriate time, and not for any other reason than that this is something that has been an issue for a long time, and like Mr. Myers pointed to, the Cockrem Road issue changed drastically when somebody got killed. And I don't want to be party to that same thing. The private property rights thing is huge here. It's a little different for me because is it a private property rights issue or is it a commercial issue? It's not like somebody's trying to develop the land to live on it. They want to develop it for profit, and I think that's wonderful. It's not an issue that they're trying to put it into commerce. If somebody wanted to take that acreage and build a family home or subdivide it into 3 lots for family homes, I don't think it would be an issue. I think the point that it's a commercial development does exemplify the fact, for me, that we're at a point to where safety is of paramount concern on Hatchell, and things need to change, and nothing has changed in a long, long time. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. And I think I have nothing further to add, man.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a motion that we close the public hearing, and then we'll move on to the next item and finish discussion at that point.
Well, I got, before you do that, I don't want to put you on the spot again, Rick, but Ms. O'Neill asked a question. This is a new process for an appeal to come to us, to circumvent decisions made by planning and zoning. So the question was asked by Ms. O'Neill is, what other processes are gonna be, are gonna be? I mean, some things go to planning and zoning, some things just go through planning and permitting. So, to answer a question, if you can answer her question, that'd be helpful.
So the only thing that from this point, once it goes past the preliminary plat, it wouldn't go back to the public, it would be approved that way. It would be, all the approvals would go through our office, so it would have to go through the engineering process, engineering approval. It would have to go through architectural approval on our end, it would have to go through all of those established approvals that are put into the subdivision regulations.
So everything would be through permitting, I'm hearing you say,
Correct.
from here on out.
Correct.
We know the public hearing.
Last chance.
It's public's last chance.
Can I say something, please?
Ma'am.
Mr. Roberts, you said something about if this piece of property was gonna be for a personal use, a home, or whatever, that it really wouldn't be an issue. Somebody did offer to buy that piece of property to build his retirement home on. His name is Arthur Perkins, and he was refused the buy of that when he told them that he was gonna do it just for a retirement home, right? And he lives right next door to it,
All right, that's,
and they wouldn't even call him back.
okay.
What's your name, ma'am? My name is Cheryl Johnson. I live at 940 Maywood Drive. And that was brought up at one of the other meetings that we had. He was here, sorry.
Okay, so, we'll need a motion to close.
Did.
Motion by Lane Williams to close, second by Poole. Madam Clerk, call for the vote.
Dugas? Yes. Gilbert?
Yes.
Lamb Williams?
Yes.
Poole?
Yes.
Wesley?
Yes. Item 21, approve the appeal of the preliminary plat of a 12.736 tract in 2 lots 1 through 39 and lots CA1, CA2 located at section 48T6 S-R3E GLD City of Denham Springs, Livingston Parish, Louisiana, RS-833B3, requested by Draco Developments LLC at 840 Hatchell Lane.
Mayor, I don't know if I'll get a second, but I'm gonna move to deny.
Motion by Poole to deny.
I'll second.
Second by Wesley.
I'm sorry, can I ask Stephanie a question real quick? I know Robert, when he was having his, when he voiced his concern over safety as it being an issue for denial, could you expound, just because of, could you expound on that?
Oh, just the entire situation, the lack of bicycle paths or sidewalks, the fact that there's no shoulder at all, the traffic volume that's there now, the fact that we have one of very few of our most critical safety infrastructures right there at the south end of that road. I mean, if safety is ever gonna be an issue, that's where it is. If it's never gonna be an issue, then let's accept that and throw that out as something that we can consider. But if it is a legitimate concern, I sure can't imagine anything in Denham that would ever be more critically unsafe than that.
But instead of stopping it, you're also identifying, and so the people have identified tonight, a lot of safety issues that we as a council and administration can move forward and work with DOTD and get a lot of this fixed without halting someone from doing a development that this can be fixed.
Yep.
I mean, we can absolutely work on speed limits, the double layer lines, you know, where there's no passing, crosswalks.
Stephanie, for safety wise, do we have to have do we need to spell out in the motion, I mean, I'm just concerned that if I wanna make sure that if whatever our decision is upholdable either way, it does not throw us into a lawsuit to which we would lose and spend a lot of city money on. So I just have concerns either way. Safety, as far as prior, I guess, decisions or upheld decisions, would we be able to use safety as I know we can't use like traffic. We can't go, traffic.
It's well settled in many Supreme Court cases that you cannot use traffic as an issue to deny it because that's within the jurisdiction of DOTD.
Okay.
So if traffic, it's a DOTD roadway, they would be the ones to deny the development based on traffic if their study showed that it was a safety concern there. Flooding is very similar. This is the approval of a preliminary plat. And so all that you're tasked with right now is looking at, does this development meet the requirements set forth in our ordinances for a preliminary plat? After that, engineers will look at the flooding, DOTD will look at the traffic, CJ will look at the landscaping, Rick will look at a multitude of things, we'll look at architecture. There's a lot of other things in the process through permitting and engineering that will be reviewed. They won't be allowed to put more water on any of these properties. There will have to be, they're not gonna be required to prevent rain from coming in the event of a 100-year flood and shield people's houses from that. But they will be required to show that none of the extra runoff from a 25-year flood would go onto these properties. It's reasonable standards that we have raised in the last couple of years that they'll have to apply to. So it's well settled that there are other parts of the processes that take care of those things. I cannot give you an answer right now as to whether the court would say these are enough safety issues or not. Those are case-specific analysis. So it depends on, what judge you get and what the safety factors would show.
Any other questions from the council? So we have a motion and a second to deny.
I'm gonna make an alternate motion to approve.
All right, so we have an alternate motion to approve. Do we have a second for that?
Can I ask real quick, is that an acceptable alternate motion, Counselor?
We would need to have a vote on the first motion and then an alternate.
It's not an amendment to my motion, it's a completely opposite
Right, so we're going
direction.
to have a vote on the first motion unless you withdrew.
Well,
All right, so
well,
currently-
this is our discussion time anyway. Where, do you feel like the concerns are something we would be able to address?
I do.
As far as, I mean, well, we did drop the speed limit on Copper. We did do that, but we'd be able to double line it since it's a state highway? Could we go, I mean, not a state highway,
We can
a
ask.
state, right?
All right, so currently we have a motion by Poole and a second by Wesley to deny. So we need to vote and.
Well, I got,
Yeah.
like,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
you know, like stated, this is our discussion time. And I think the frustrating part for me is I have the utmost respect for planning and zoning for turning this down. I do, and I understand. And the argument is this legal, okay? To me, what I see is trying to meet the very minimal intent of the ordinance. I know some discussion was had to maybe change the density of this subdivision, larger lots to kind of combat some of this stuff. And I know that there's been multiple comments made to maybe have some conversations with the neighbors to try to mitigate some of these concerns. And to my knowledge, none of this has happened. We're still sitting at the same, as Robert stated earlier. I'm not against a development. I am concerned with the development of this magnitude. I'm concerned about all the issues that are being raised. I'm also concerned about the fact that once it leaves right here, it's kind of out of our hands. This is where I get a little uncomfortable. So I'm not, I'm not against a development. I'm against a development, this development as it sits right now. I'm open for discussion, and I would be happy to hear what anybody else here has to say. Yes, these are serious quality of life issues, and it is frustrating when somebody comes from the outside to make money and go home. The fact that you live here, and I have some respect for that. I do, but to me, that's even more of a reason to continue these conversations to try to mitigate some of the concerns that people have. They are legitimate concerns.
I'm not gonna argue that they're not legitimate concerns, and I agree with you, it'll be a litigation issue. They meet our ordinances, all of them, they meet them all. Now, if that's something that, if we don't like those, then it would be our job to go through and change them. I mean, that truly, that's, if we feel like they need to have larger lot sizes across the board, then we need to go in and change those lot sizes. I mean, which I'm happy to work with you on.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Now, as
That's
far
not where
as,
we're at right here.
I know that's not where we're at here. Where we're at here is they meet all of our ordinances, all of them, is my understanding. Also, as far as just a comment back, they did have, open meetings at the library, and they did speak with a lot of the neighbors, and they answered a lot of my questions as far as lot sizes and what their projected costs are. And they are local, it's not that, honestly, if you own property, you're local, it's yours. We don't go, now you're not local, get out. I mean, we're taking your property, they're local. I mean, I hate to see it, it does, it nauseates me to an extent, dealing with it, because I hate to have people who feel quite so distraught over it.
Well, both sides are. Both sides
Yeah,
have
they just are.
valid points.
They really do, and, I feel horrible to tell someone, oh, good job, you bought property, you do legally whatever you'd like to do with it, but no. I mean, I would love to live with woods across the street from me every day, but, I didn't have the money to buy those. They weren't mine, so I'm not gonna tell someone what to do with them. If they're within the legal line of it.
If I could add one little caveat to that, though. One of the most fundamental rights is that of the right to keep and bear arms. But I can't go step outside and discharge it at random
But you cannot.
because there's safety issues associated with it. So it's not uncommon to take lawful things and put restrictions on them when the general population is served by those restrictions, of which safety is one of those caveats given us as grounds for an exception to those that follow all of the other steps of the law. And again, I would just say if there's ever going to be a safety-related reason to intervene, this is it.
How is 39 lots different than moving a whole entire elementary school over there? Even though it's temporary, a whole entire elementary school over there versus
Yeah.
39 lots.
So I'm not sure that.
It was temporary.
Right, and I'm not sure that the fact that that was not a great idea is grounds to go with another bad idea. You know what I mean? I get your point, I do. And you and I don't disagree on a lot, but I think we may on this one.
Okay.
Is that it for discussion?
Well, I'll just say one thing, probably more than one thing. I go to church every Sunday to repent for driving in Denham Springs sometimes. And Hatchell Lane is one of those roads that I drive quite often, and the traffic is terrible on Hatchell Lane. So we know that, we've all agreed that that's a problem. It is a state highway, and it is for the most part outside the control of the city of Denham Springs. There's not much we can do about it. We've listened to all your concerns tonight, and I'm representing you when I seconded his motion, because from deep down inside of me, I think if we turn this down, we're going to court. And the question is, how much money are we willing to spend on a court case for this? And so if you're okay with your tax money being spent on a court case like this, that might go into quite a sum of money, it's your tax money, it's mine too. And I've already seconded the motion, but tonight, I'm not sure I've heard a lot of things that's gonna change a judge's mind. But that's just my feeling.
Just because you seconded the motion doesn't mean you have to vote that way.
Right, I know.
Anybody else? Give everybody a chance. Okay, so council, we have a motion by Poole, a second by Wesley to deny. So Madam Clerk, would you call for the vote, please?
Dugas,
No.
Gilbert,
No.
Lamb Williams,
No.
Wesley.
No.
Do I get a vote?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
So motion failed. So now we need a second,
Have an alternate motion to approve.
an alternate motion by Lamb Williams to approve. Do we have a second? No second? All right, so motion fails, so,
No, I'll second.
so a second by Dugas. So we have a motion and a second to approve, make sure I get this right, to approve the subdivision, okay? The preliminary plat, there you go. All right, Madam Clerk, call for the vote, please.
Dugas,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Lamb Williams,
Yes.
Poole,
No.
Wesley.
No.
Motion passes to approve the subdivision. You got that right? All right, motion to.
By Lamb Williams.
By Lamb Williams.
Seconded by.
Second by Poole to adjourn.
Dugas, Gilbert, Lamb Williams, Poole,
Yes.
Wesley.
Make sure that